sorry, you might have to turn your head to look, but that little white sign says, failure to clean up after dogs, fine, $200. So that means if you guys have pets on board and you bring them here and you don't clean up after them, they're going to give you a ticket. With that ticket, they're going to build us a brand new park. This used to house 26 different bordellos. The most famous of which was Miss Dolly's, that mint greenhouse right there in front. It was a brothel, not anymore. I know. So, I mean, we love. Now, $800 compared to today's day and age might not seem like a whole lot of money, but back then, $800 was a lot of money. So she knew she was a very smart woman, very business savvy. So she knew the hole that could be. Charge $3 for her. The sign proving it. Juneau does not have the sign. Don't let them trick you guys. They don't have it. Plus, there's another way you can tell that Juneau is lying. Juneau is the state capital of Alaska. That means they have all the legislature, they have all the conflicts. So relatively speaking, we are well connected. Seattle is not a terrible far distance away from here. So here in Ketchikan, it is not a necessity to travel by the float planes. So those float planes are just, although full disclosure on the whales, we do have whales in the area, but typically the whales don't like to come in the main part of town here just because there's a lot of boat traffic. So the chance to see whales is very low. Because some people will all want to take a look, and if I see something, I'll for sure let you guys know. But yeah, let me go ahead and jump into my wisdom, some of the wisdoms that I've learned here. One of the guys right here on the corner, the blue one and the silver one, these are both purse hangers. But what these guys will do is that they'll attach one end of the net to the big boat, they'll attach one end of the net to the skiff, and the skiff will sail around the school of fish, thus trapping them all. Then they'll rejoin the nets together, they'll put the nets through the crane system, and then they'll cinch the net up like fishing for hours on end. The act of doing that is called trolling, so that's why they're called a troller. This vessel right here, by the way, this Misbehavin', this is a patroller. You can see the two masts sticking up on either side. By the way, I think that's a heavily clever name. I love that name, Misbehavin', for a vessel. But yeah, their whole goal is pretty much the exact opposite of the first one I talked about. They're wanting the quality over quantity. They're wanting the big fish. So gill netters, what they'll do is that they'll sail out to where the fish are, release the net underwater, and then they'll drag that net behind them, and the net will act like a giant wall as they go. The holes in the net are big enough for the fish to start to swim through, but not big enough for them to go all the way through. So the fish will usually get caught in their gills. That's why it's called a gill netter. Now their whole goal is the perfect middle ground of the first two I talked about. You're getting a lot more fish with the gill netter, not as many as a purse hanger, way more than a troller, and they're a lot higher quality. Not as quality as a troller, but way better quality than a troller or a purse hanger. So it's a perfect middle ground. That, by the way, is why we are the salmon capital of the world. It's because all of those fishing vessels, that is what they are primarily fishing. But yeah, salmon is our primary. That's why we're the salmon capital of the world. So, very cool. Now as we're crossing this little rock wall, on the other side of it, this little inlet, this is called Shipwreck Cove. It's called that because there is a shipwreck over there that we'll see. It's at the base of the rocks, kind of at the base of those brown buildings, but as soon as we clear it, you'll see it. Okay, good. I was going to say, the tide is a little bit lower, so a lot more of the vessel will be sticking out. Not all of it, but you'll see it over there. That's actually another reason why that's another thing I learned coming here. Sorry, my wife got on a flight this morning, so she's just texting me. She made it on time. So, but yeah, another thing I learned is the most common way that shipwrecks will happen. And it's not through accidents or storms, believe it or not, but the most common way that they'll happen is this. Now, what I'm about to say is very taboo, very frowned upon. It's not a good look. But when a captain or a fisherman, when they're done with their vessel, they don't want to fix it, don't want to sell it, don't want to do anything with it, they will sail their vessel out somewhere, drop anchor, and abandon it. Like I was saying, in the wintertime, we do get snow, but what we get more of is wind, high winds. We're talking 80 to 100 mile an hour winds. So even though those vessels are anchored there, the wind is just going to take them because on the ocean floor here in this whole area of Ketchikan, this whole area, there are no reefs down there. It's just rock. So there's no good natural habitat for the fish to live in. So when the ships sink, the ships almost become a man-made reef. That's why they don't prioritize getting out. The only time they'll actually move a vessel is if the vessel sinks in a bad spot. Like if it sinks at the mouth of a harbor, for example. even then, depending on the situation, depending on how it sank, what type of vessel it was, rather than moving it behind all the buildings and everything, you'll see that forest up there. Now that forest that we're looking at, that is part of the Tongass National Rainforest. We're liable to get mudslides in town, like you're seeing, devastating tragedies. Now, as my sound goes down, there is no more lumber in the United States, or in at least Alaska. You cannot go out there and chop down forests. Overnight, back in the 90s when we were a logging community, we were 40,000 people strong. Overnight, as soon as the law was passed outlawing the maneuver of lumbers, because you can actually go out into the ocean. Crazy about this? Rodney and I, we live 3 houses down from where that happened. Yeah. You see those 2 gray buildings that are really tall up there, kind of right next to the mudslide? Rodney and I, we lived on the one to the right of that. So it happened just 3 doors down. Huh? Oh, absolutely. Me and my family, we were just watching cars too when it happened. And then all of a sudden we heard a freight train pretty much right next to us. Kind of at the far end of that dock. But it looks like the captain's turning around so we can actually try to get a glimpse of it. So on this dock, right, you go a little bit further south, a little bit further north, that's where the whales usually make their appearance.
On top of the,
we've seen pods of orcas,
right under
15 feet,
walkway.
15 members strong.
Behind that boat.
Yeah, very awesome, very large.
They're there.
Yeah, the harbor seals are there. They're just kind of at the far end of that dock over there.
Oh.
Yeah, the animals are protected. All marine life is protected. So that means that you have to keep a distance from them. I think it's like 250 feet or something? Something like that. So you do have to keep a distance, and if you are caught, it's a pretty nasty punishment. Now before coming up here, I kind of thought they were the same thing. I thought they were 2 words for the same animal. Now, harbor seals, they have smooth heads, bald heads. They do not have heads sticking out of the water. That's how you can tell the difference. Yeah, Captain says there is a seaplane coming in. It looks like it's coming to land. It's going to land right in front of us. Have I ridden them? I have not. I want to though. I want to go see the Misty Fjords National Park, but right on. Who's having a good time so far? It's been a great tour. Awesome. Right? It'll bring everything, really. Anything you think of, and if it comes here, that's how it's getting here. Anything from food to clothing, building materials, mail, medicine, vehicles, everything comes in on the barge. And because everything comes in on the barge, it tends to make living here a bit expensive. So to illustrate that, let me put it this way. If you were to go to Godfather's Pizza and order one, some of that price increase is because of the general inflation we're facing, but like Hawaii is the same deal. They get everything shipped to them, so cost of living tends to be a bit more expensive. Although between Hawaii and us, Hawaii's better situated for 2 reasons. 1, it's Hawaii. You're in paradise. And 2, Hawaii actually has dirt on land, so you could actually, if you needed to, you could actually plant fields and grow stuff. Here we don't have that, so we depend upon everything coming in. And we are lucky here in Ketchikan, though. We are lucky because here, in Ketchikan, this is where the barge always comes first. They'll always drop their stuff off first here before they continue up north. Which means that here in Ketchikan, we will still get fresh produce. We will still get ripe bananas, ripe avocados, ripe tomatoes and stuff. Anywhere up north, like Juneau or Skagway, because it takes so long to get up there, they're going to get banana pudding, salsa, Guacamole. Quack, quack. So we're pretty lucky here in that way. Yes, sir. How many cruise ships are one cruise ship in? Other days we'll get like 7 or 8. It really just depends. All I know is that for the duration of the season, from about April to about October, we're slated to get about 1.5 million visitors in between all the different cruise ships. And it's hard to count how many cruise ships will come in total because a lot of cruise ships will come multiple times and they'll stop on the way up and they'll stop on the way back. So it's kind of hard to count. 1.5 million passengers will come. But yeah, this summer, countless. Today, I'm slated to do 4 tours just today. But we'll see how the day brings, you know.
And then Sunday we had that torrential downpour, and that's when the mudslide happened. The back side of where the one you saw on the town side, on the back side, there's a library and a school and stuff back over there. And actually, I guess the front side came off, and then I guess that caused the back side, or vice versa, that last year. Anybody have any questions, or? Yes, sir. Yes, actually, there's a couple of ferries that run back and forth to the airport for the airport traffic and for people to.
That's when our fishing industry takes flights. That's when everyone in some sort of capacity will work for the fishing industry. Yeah. So that's when we'll do a lot of our crab fishing, a lot of our, gooey dug and whatnot. Crab, shrimp, halibut. It might not be as expensive just because they got a bigger town than us. Right on. Any other questions, guys? Questions, comments, concerns? Right on. So at this point, earlier in the tour, I believe I said something about trivia, right? Trivia? Yeah, let's circle back to that. Let's test your guys' knowledge. I'll start with something easy. State flower. Do what?
Forget-me-not.
That was a solid guess.
The forget-me-not?
Unfortunately, that's a country bird, nation bird. So Alaska had to find its own bird. Any guesses? That's okay. It is called the willow ptarmigan. This is what they look like. Willow ptarmigan. Now these guys are cool. They turn white in the winter, brown in the summer for camouflage. This is them when they're transitioning those feathers. But, about moose. Moose love freshwater. Here in Ketchikan, we're an oceanside town. We have lots of salt water. So moose just don't come here. I know what the term megafauna means. Megafauna. You're correct there. Big something. Megafauna means big. Pandas, saber-tooth tigers, etc. The moose is the last living remnants of the megafauna. That's why moose are so ginormous. They are huge. I always underestimate how big they are. That's also why moose act so differently when compared to all the other antler animals out there. Pretty cool. They're like a leftover of the ice age. Pretty cool. Alright, next little bit of trivia. Now this one is difficult, so if anyone were to get this, I would be thoroughly impressed. But does anybody know the Alaska State marine mammal? And I'll give you a hint. It is a species of whale. Humpback, orca, excellent guesses. Sperm whale, excellent guess. What? Whale shark, good guess. What was your guess? Blue whale, excellent. All these are great guesses. The correct answer is... Hello? Okay, here we go. Hello? Okay. Back there, quick shout. Yep. So the reason why the Alaska State marine mammal is in the far north of Alaska, very far north, where the Inuits still live with their tribe, the Inuits actually hunt this animal as part of their culture. The Inuit demand not move anymore. They will drag the animal back to the village and they will beach it with them. They'll beach it right in front of your shore. And at that point, it becomes a whole festival. The women, the children, everything is incredible. We celebrate this culture, making this the Alaska State marine mammal. Now, if it was not for this animal, if it wasn't for this whale, these people would have died out long ago. Those Inuit people would have been dead way long ago. This animal is what helped. This mic is really ticking me off. But it's okay, we're making do.
I'm staring into that.
So here we're not coming back to the dock, so that does mean our tour is coming to an end. But we still got some time, so let's still talk about a few things. Right over here, we're actually returning onto them. These are the main docks in town.